Welcome everybody to Too Legit to Crit, a discussion show about tabletop role-playing games, hosted by the human equivalent of Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. My name is John Santana.
Oh, and I'm still Justin.
I had a feeling you might like that one.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Oh my gosh, dude.
To be fair, I never actually played 4th edition. I'm going off public opinion.
Exactly, and that's the best bit. Is you're not wrong.
I know there's someone out there that's listened to that and kind of going, oh, fuck you guys, I enjoyed 4th edition.
Yeah, and for every one of those people, there's a million others who go, nah, it was shit. And that's just like real life for us. 1 in a million people is like, no, that guy's alright. Everyone else, nah, he's a prick.
That is fair.
Yeah. So I think that's a pretty accurate description.
I am considered a prick far and wide.
Yeah.
Multiple countries as well, which is... You know.
Same!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Oh my gosh.
So, how have you been keeping?
Yeah, great. Definitely, yeah. So, been a bit of an adventure, as you kind of know. Managed to get myself locked out of my flat yesterday, which is why we're recording this today instead of yesterday. And my estate agents decided they wouldn't let me go and get the spare keys, even though it was within office hours, because they weren't at the office. And they didn't want to go back to the office to do their job. So I had to get somebody out to break my lock so I could get into my flat.
Yep, sounds like a load of fun.
Yeah, it was great. I had so much fun last night. It was amazing.
That's just what you need on a nice, lazy Sunday evening.
Mm-hmm.
To go, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. The worst thing was, right, I was on my way to pick up my daughter when I locked myself out. And the reason it happened, right, is normally I've got my keys by my front door. But sometimes, if I know I'm going out again, like very, very soon, I'll just keep them in my pocket. So what I did was I kept them in my pocket because I got home I went to play golf with my dad. I got back from that and I was like, well, I've got to pop out again in a minute anyway to go pick up my daughter, so I'll just keep my keys in my pocket. Sat down at my desk, started playing some games, and I must have subconsciously got uncomfortable with them in my back pocket and just put them on my desk. So when I walked out my front door, I pulled the door closed, reached for my keys to check they were there. Not there. Fuck.
Well, it's of no use now, but maybe, just maybe, you might want to get into the habit of checking for your keys before you close the door.
I normally do! That's the annoying part! Oh, but yeah. Anyway. We move onwards and upwards.
For more great advice, stay tuned.
Yeah. So it was good fun. Other than that, though, I've just been playing a crap ton of Diablo 4 since that released. Because Blizzard did something that I think is actually really, really cool with the release of the game. So level cap is 100. And what they've done is, for the first 1,000 players to reach level 100 in hardcore, and tweet proof of the character, basically, with their Battle.net ID, will get their Battle.net ID engraved on a statue in the game.
Okay, so yeah, I can see how that would be appealing.
Yeah, so you'll forever be immortalized in the game. And I believe there was also, I don't know how true this part is, because it might just be rumors or whatever, but apparently they're also going to send out a little statuette of the statue to all of those players as well.
That is pretty cool. How do you think you're faring?
Well, the first player reached level 100 today. So that happened today.
How long has it been out?
This weekend.
Jesus Christ.
It's a long grind, I'm not going to lie. And I'm doing it solo as well, which is a lot harder. Because you get more XP in groups, and there's a bit of a cheese method you can do in groups, which is a thing. But currently, number 30... Let me just refresh the leaderboards quickly. Number 30 on the leaderboard is only level 56. The leaderboard doesn't go past 30. So 56 is the lowest level on the leaderboards, and I'm currently level 44. So I'm not too far off.
Oh, it's fair enough. You are.
I'm in with a chance.
Fair play. I wish you all the best.
So that is what I shall be doing for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine you're going to be quite hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Fair play. I'll keep that in mind for recording next weekend. So we had our lodge meet on Saturday.
Yes, I saw that. How did that go?
It went really well. I was a player as opposed to GMing.
I saw that.
Which is...
a rarity these days.
It's a rarity, yeah. And suffice to say, I was a pain in the arse.
No, that doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, I know. I kind of broke character and decided I'd be annoying instead. So it was just basically myself and another player. We really shouldn't be allowed to sit together anymore. But it was a ton of fun. The scenario was good, not a bad turnout, and we've actually got something quite different planned for next month.
Okay.
Every now and again, Pathfinder's organised play will put, and Starfinder's organised play, should I say, will put out special scenarios where they are essentially multi-table scenarios, and that's what we're doing next month.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, so we're aiming for 4 tables who are all going to be playing the same scenario. And yes, I will be GMing one of those tables.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, if anybody's interested, head down to check it out on Warhorn first and foremost. I'll be posting the link later. Get yourself signed up. It's at Gamers Nexus in Hadley, and it is going to be on the first Saturday of July, which I genuinely can't remember what date that actually is. Which I'm just checking now.
It's the first.
There you go, 1st of July. Thank you, Justin.
It's all right. Quicker on the calendar.
Boom. Your calendar skills are mad.
It's almost like I have to go into calendars daily at work.
I do too, but you'd think I'd remember this shit, and I never do.
I also just booked in a couple of weeks holiday, so...
I always have to double check because for some reason the day may have changed since the last time I looked at it.
Yeah.
That's just my brain working.
See, for me it's the time. I'll check the time and I'll be like, oh, okay, it's that time. And then I'll put my phone away and be like, wait, what time is it?
So, also, I've been spending more money.
What have you spent money on now?
Well, I hadn't done it at this point last week, but I did kickstart the Abomination Vault.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
It was bound to happen, and I was kidding myself, thinking that I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was inevitable, really. It was inevitable.
Yeah, it was. It was. But also, the 5e conversion for Abomination Vaults is up for pre-order.
Ah, interesting.
That may be of interest to you.
It is very interesting to me. I might have a look at that.
It is a genuinely good adventure path. It's dungeon crawly, but there's also a story and there's a lot of kind of meat on the bones.
Yeah. I think I'll have to have a little sneaky peek at that.
I would highly recommend it if you wanted to run something in 5e.
I mean, I've got so many things still to run.
Oh, I mean, that's just like our ever-growing list. Yeah, We have to actually start tackling that at some point.
See, you say that like we're not going to just keep adding things to it and never actually do it.
Well, the first thing is going to be the One Ring, isn't it? And
yeah, that is absolutely the first thing. I feel like that if we ever do merch, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a t-shirt that says, I'll put that on the list.
I like that. That is a good t-shirt idea. Write that down.
Should I write it on a t-shirt?
Perfect. That way we will never forget it.
Oh, brilliant. Oh.
But actually, speaking of the One Ring and the Lord of the Rings roleplay, Free League have announced that Tales from the Lowlands, which is an adventure compendium for the One Ring system, the same adventures will be known as Tales from Eriador for the Lord of the Rings version of the game.
Okay, so they're changing the name of everything.
Yeah, everything that they're bringing out for these systems
Interesting.
are completely separate, apparently.
Very interesting.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to look into that, because I still haven't bought the One Ring. That might be a next week purchase.
Yeah, well, I just spunked all my money on Diablo 4, so I'm not buying anything for a while.
That's fair.
I bought the collector, like the top tier collector's edition, so it was like 90 quid.
No, that's fair enough. When I was at the gaming store the other day, I was talking to the owner about that World of Darkness game, The Hunters.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I was just asking him, because he's played the new edition. He said, oh, it's really good. And he goes, yeah, I've got the book in here for 45 quid. It's like, for fuck's sake.
He knows his market.
But I will happily say that I refrained.
You resisted.
I resisted the urge, but my
Fucking hell.
My wallet was giving me a dead leg at the time. But yeah, I think that's going to be purchased.
Yeah.
But apparently it's a really cool system, and it is what we thought it is. You play basically monster killers.
Nice.
Some supernatural shenanigans. Which, it's going on the list.
Dude, I don't know why, but whenever I hear us say it's going on the list, all I can think of is that fucking TikTok. The straight in my basket.
Well, yeah, it is similar.
That's all I can hear. It's going straight on my list.
That actually makes sense, and the difference is that dude became a fucking millionaire off of that.
Yeah, we likely won't.
We likely won't. I don't see kids repeating, we're going to add that to the list in 7 years' time.
Well, I mean, they'll be saying it. They just won't be quoting us.
I wonder if we can actually trademark it so every time somebody says it, regardless of context, we get paid.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Think about how many times they talk about lists in films.
Exactly, and just someone kind of going, yeah, we need Mavis. Yeah, we need to get toilet roll. Okay, I'll add it to the list. And all of a sudden,
fuck!
There's a knock on the door, and it's the Pinkertons. That'll be 20p, please. Yeah, I will look into that.
Cool. Well, I guess if we get it on a t-shirt and make like a catchphrase, I think that's the only way we'd be able to do it, really. So we have to do the t-shirt thing.
But I mean, there's always that story about I think, and I may be wrong because I'm quoting this from memory, is Gene Simmons. He trademarked the picture of like the loot bag with the $sign on it.
Yeah.
He trademarked it.
No way.
Yeah.
Is that why they stopped doing that for like robbers and stuff in films?
I have no idea, but yeah.
Oh, that's so funny if that's true.
I need to actually confirm this, but I heard it. I think it was on one of the Kevin Smith podcasts where he mentioned it. And
oh, that's fucking brilliant. Oh my gosh.
Gene Simmons loot bag. He trademarked it.
Oh, that's actually incredible.
That's genius. That is genius.
Yeah, that is.
So, yeah, we need to trademark something.
But do you reckon that's genuinely why they stopped using that as for, like, robbers and stuff in cartoons and stuff? Because, like, that kind of stopped around the same sort of time. Because I just Googled it, right? And when he kind of did that, that's around the time that cartoons and that stopped using it.
It would kind of make sense, to be honest. You know, it's kind of like the OGL debacle, but in other ventures. It's like...
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't need to use this, so let's use something else instead. Let's use a money bag with a pound sign on it.
Just change the currency. No, this is clearly different because it's got euros on it, mate.
Yeah, and I think you'll find it's a money satchel.
Yeah. This is a fucking my brain's just gone dead. Oh no.
There's a joke in there somewhere, folks.
There
Wait
is.
for it.
There
Wait
is.
for it.
No, it's not gonna be worth it now. The moment's gone. The moment's gone. The worst thing is, right, I'm gonna remember at like 2 o'clock this morning. It's gonna come to me at like 2 in the morning, and you're gonna get a text. With
I was just thinking, I better not get a fucking text over that.
No, you're getting it.
And chances are it's going to be the greatest joke ever fucking told.
I wouldn't go that far.
But now because the moment has passed, it won't be.
I wouldn't go that far.
But yeah, so we need to trademark shit. And you know, speaking of OGL shenanigans, obviously Paizo had their PaizoCon a couple of weeks back. The big news, which I'm surprised if you haven't heard it.
I haven't, because I've been playing Diablo.
Fair play. The Drow are being completely dropped from Pathfinder lore.
Huh?
Yep.
Huh?
Like completely dropped.
But they're my favourite.
Yeah, it's a D&D thing.
I know, they're my favourite.
I mean, to be fair...
I mean, they are essentially just a different version of Elf.
Yeah, but I think in D&D, their history is very tied to the, like, in-game lore, whereas in Pathfinder, they always kind of felt a bit like an addition. So Pathfinder, the lore is... When Starfall happened and all the elves essentially left planet, there were ones that stayed behind, which kind of burrowed deep into the planet of Galarian, where the radiation and the evil sort of influence from Rovagug transformed them into the Drow.
From who, sorry?
Rovagug. He's...
What, one more time?
He's the big bad, essentially.
Oh, but it's a funny name.
How dare you?
It's a funny name.
How dare you? It is.
Hey,
it is. Quite
D&D has some funny names as well, but that's a funny one too.
It is quite a funny name, but anyway.
It sounds like you know, like when a 2-year-old is trying to tell you about like a rover dog that their friend has. No, Rovagug. It's a Rovagug.
Perhaps that's how the name came about. You know.
Honestly, I reckon that's where like 90% of fantasy names come from. They just give a word to a toddler, get the toddler to say it, but like, that's it. That's the name now.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of the names I come up with are a bit like that anyway.
I just whack my hand on the keyboard and see what comes out. There are no vowels. Perfect.
Like microphone table lamp. Just having a look at random shit around the room.
Like, oh, what's that NPC's name? Monstario Canifis.
But every time I do like an arc of the campaign and I create NPCs, I'll put one in, which is made me laugh so fucking much. and just hope that my players encounter them. I think in the last one, it was Thrushmore Deep Scratch or something like that.
Oh, that's good.
And they encountered him, and one of the players went, "No, that can't be his fucking name." He just went, "Let me show you my notes that I did 3 weeks ago."
Oh,
as you can see, there's his entire NPC portfolio with that name.
Oh, that's actually brilliant.
But yet, the best thing about, the funniest thing about this, I mean, to be fair, I don't give a shit about dropping the Drow because they were never very consequential in the lore.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is, because Drow have appeared in adventure paths, etc., etc., what they're doing is, in canon, they are replacing the Drow with serpent folk.
Okay.
Now, serpent folk have a much richer attachment to Galarian because they were the first sentient surface dwellers.
Yeah.
In the aptly named Age of Serpents. So it would make sense.
It's a good name. It's descriptive.
Yeah, exactly. And it would make sense that they get a bit more screen time.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
Do you want to know the reason that they are giving for the change in canon?
I would love to know.
Well, apparently all the accounts of Drows were put in place by an unreliable Pathfinder agent.
So it's just some incompetent twat.
Yes. And I think that's fantastic.
Amazing. Oh, that's brilliant.
So everywhere.
So it's like essentially it's just like it's that age old. Oh no, it's just a mistranslation.
But instead of a mistranslation, it was like, that was Dave. What a wanker.
Oh my god, that's actually fucking top tier.
I think it's brilliant. I think that is what has given me the most amount of joy.
Yeah.
That it's just been a case of, yeah, we thought Drow existed, but apparently it was Jeff.
Yeah. Turns out it was just Jeff thinking he was funny. It was a practical joke. It got a bit out of hand. Deadlines were coming up.
Actually, a little tidbit about the Drow, and I genuinely do not know how reliable this is, but I find it fun. I was playing a Pathfinder Society scenario with an older, more seasoned player, and for some reason the topic of Drow came up.
Mm-hmm.
And according to this player, again, don't know how true it is, but it's great to think about, that the Drow were first envisioned by Gygax when he was going through a divorce. So that is why it's a matriarchal society. And I just find that fucking amazing.
Oh, I hope that's true.
That's his way of getting back at the ex.
I really hope that's true.
I can hear you furiously typing now.
I am absolutely furiously Googling that.
I've tried finding it. I couldn't find anything, but it is fun to think about. Let me know if you find anything.
I will do. I'm just reading something now, but I'll get back to reading it in a minute.
But other than the Drow, there is something else that's quite genre defining that's getting dropped from Pathfinder. Would you care to know what that is?
Of course I would.
Wizarding schools.
Interesting.
So
you can go to Hogwarts now?
Well, I mean, technically, yes, but beside the point. You know how you've got your different schools? You've got Illusion.
Yeah.
I can't think of another one because my mind's drawing a blank. But, yeah, so you've got all your wizarding schools that have been around in D&D forever. that is now no longer going to be the case in Pathfinder. Instead, they're getting replaced by actual schools. So instead of being, School of Illusion, your wizard will have attended the School of Battle Magic in some part of the world.
Okay.
So they will serve the same purpose, but the spells might be a lot more crossover. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It is interesting, and I think it's going to work really well.
Well, it was something that that 5e actually did. Say a little while ago. It was actually quite a while ago now. They released a book called, I think it was Curriculum of Chaos. I think it was called. Strixhaven, a Curriculum of Chaos, which is essentially an adventure path that takes place in a school of wizardry called Strixhaven. It's also where they introduced the owl race that we have. I haven't played it yet because it was going to be run by my ex, and then obviously we split up, so I haven't played it. But it is very interesting, and it's very like the actual adventure path. You go through like lessons, and like there's lesson plans and everything.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I mean, I know Pathfinder have done a similar one recently. I don't know if it's Strength of Thousands, or something along those lines, where again it's based in Quantium, which is kind of like the arcane hub of the world.
Yeah.
And it revolves around a wizarding school. I don't know if it's the same sort of setup where you have a curriculum, or if it is just an adventure tied to that school.
Tied to the school, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to have a look at both of them, to be honest. Just to see how the different sort of creators have handled a similar setting. Pretty interesting. Going back quickly to the last point.
Yeah.
I have some terrible news for you.
Is it fake?
It's bollocks.
Nah, god damn it.
He created them because he wanted to create a dark elf. Because he needed like a predominant a predominant race in the Underdark. And he wanted to create a dark elf, but he didn't want to just call them dark elf. He wanted to give them their own name. So he called them the Drow, which is a cognate with the word troll. So, yeah.
But
tis bollocks, unfortunately.
Okay, however, it doesn't quite explain the rationale behind them worshipping an evil goddess, which I'm going to cling to. Because
they're dark elves.
I'm clinging to the divorce thing. I'm clinging on for fucking dear life. So yeah, that's it. You heard it here, folks. All right, so a bit more news in the tabletop role-playing sphere. This is one that you may be interested in, and I think it is fantastic. Wizards of the Coast.
Yarp.
They have... how was it worded in the news thing? They have started their Pride shop.
Okay.
So all profits of the sales of Pride products will go to the Trevor Project. They support the Trevor Project in their mission to end suicide among gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning young people. To learn more about this, blah blah blah, visit the Trevor Project. So that is some great news from Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of good news every once in a while, isn't it?
It is.
Makes a nice change of pace for us Wizards people.
It does. It's something to be proud of. as opposed to the opposite. But yeah, so that is wonderful, and you know, if you can support that, by all means, go for it. It's a great fucking cause. I don't think I've got anything else Wizards related, unfortunately. Yeah. Unless you found something, because I have not.
I've been playing Diablo. I would also just final nail in the coffin for that theory, and then I promise I'll move on.
Don't ruin this for me.
I'm gonna. The Drow first appeared in 1977.
Yeah.
He didn't get divorced until 1983.
But maybe the marriage was on the rocks.
For 6 years. 7 years.
Maybe they were staying together for the kids.
for 7 years.
You know, maybe he just spent 7 years
and
kill me now.
The deity that they worship appeared in 1978. So it's not even like the deity came late enough to
yeah, but that's closer.
It's still 6 years apart.
So he had time to create the Drow and then go, you know what? I'm sick of this bitch.
Like I can see where the theory has come from, because 3 years after the divorce, the modules that they were introduced in were reprinted. So it's very likely that people that don't know that they were reprints have thought that they were created in that 3-year gap after, if you get what I mean.
I don't know, I just kind of feel like a kid who's just been told that Santa doesn't exist. I you know, that level of pettiness was something I aspire to.
I mean, hey, maybe he just planned in advance.
Thank you, Justin, for giving me that glimmer of hope.
That's all right. That's what I'm here for.
I feel better. God bless us, everyone. So, in other news, the Gamma reveals the 2023 Origins Award finalists. So the Games Manufacturer Association revealed their finalists for the 2023 Origins Awards. Quite a few things on here. Most notably, I think Free League. Oh, well, there's some Magic the Gathering stuff, but that we're gonna skip right down to.
Yeah, we'll skip past
RPG stuff.
That is a version of drugs that I've quit and don't want to introduce back into my life.
It just never appealed to me.
Don't do it.
You
Dude,
know,
honestly, it's a really cool game, right? And the concept is really fun. The issue is, right, to play regularly. So if you want to play in like the Friday the night Magic that most game shops run, right? They all play standard, which means you have. I think it's like the last like 5 sets or something, or it might even be less than that. It might be the last 3 sets, or it's like the last X number of sets are what is classed as standard. And everything older than that, you can't use. So you have to constantly... It's a very clever system, and a lot of trading card games do it. Because that way you have to keep buying cards, because your cards fall out of date, essentially.
Oof.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, it's literally a form of, like, fucking crack, because you'll start buying a few cards, and you'll start playing, and then you'll want to play more, but then, oh, shit, half my deck is now no longer standard. I'm going to build a new deck, which means I need new cards, so you go out and buy a fucking couple of boxes. And then you don't get the cards you need. So you go buy a few more boxes. And then next thing you know, you're like 50 grand in the hole. And yeah, it's bad, dude. Don't do it. Don't play trading card games.
When Magic kind of came on the scene, this is back out in Spain. I had a group of friends and we started getting into Warhammer 40k. Yeah.
Also crack cocaine. Don't do it.
I did it and I spent a fucking fortune on my Blood Angels.
It's very, very similar crack cocaine. It's just one crack cocaine you have to build and paint it yourself.
Yeah, and I'm shit at painting, but that's beside the point.
But I do it anyway.
So I had this army. I was very proud of it, and my friends had their armies, and we'd have skirmishes and whatnot. It was all a bunch of fun. Then all of a sudden, all my friends, without fail, went ahead and discovered magic.
Yeah.
And it was a case of, yeah, we're no longer interested in Warhammer. We're going to play Magic.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. I didn't want to kind of follow them down that rabbit hole. So I just kind of...
Be glad you didn't.
Sat there with my Blood Angel army gathering dust for eternity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, right, and this is part of the reason I don't mind spending out for Warhammer, because I have started doing that recently. Is if you maybe not like the 40k stuff, because that's like kind of sci-fi more than anything else, but a lot of the fantasy side, like so Age of Sigmar, stuff like that, the models are very usable in tabletop gaming. So because especially I play the group that I play are like trolls, goblins, squigs, that sort of thing. Which are they fit very well in a D&D setting for me, because obviously that's the main game that I play. But they'll fit in any sort of fantasy setting, because I mean, what fantasy setting doesn't have trolls or goblins or things of that nature? So for me, I kind of get a double use out of them, so I don't mind it so much.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And yeah, obviously Magic the Gathering cards can only really be used for one purpose.
No, you can throw them really far. They've got a really good, like for card throwing, the coating on them, you get a really good distance out of it.
Okay, fair enough. They're
better than Pokemon cards for throwing.
I didn't really peg you as someone who had a list of throwing cards.
Really? The guy who used to do Magic doesn't have a list of throwing cards?
Yeah, now that you mention it, it does kind of make sense.
I used to juggle and do Magic. Of course I threw cards.
No, that's fair enough. I will retract my previous statement.
Get your head out of your ass, John.
So back to the Gamma Awards.
Yes.
So just having a look at the RPG side of things, because there's a bunch of shit that they... Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of like categories. So the RPG core, the nominees are Blackbirds by Andrew McNeil Publishing.
That's a mouthful.
Blade Runner, the role-playing game by Free League.
Yeah.
Coyote and Crow by Coyote and Crow. Tea Time Adventures by Snowbright Studio. Mm-hmm. And The One Ring by Free League Publishing.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing about Free League. They clean up at this shit.
Clearly.
Like, they win so many fucking awards, it's not even funny anymore.
The fact that The One Ring's just won an award as well means we really do need to play it.
We do. We need to get to that list.
We really do.
And in terms of RPG supplements, you've got Agents of Doom by Modiphius. Again, another powerhouse when it comes to winning awards. The Blade Runner Starter Box by Free League. The Fallout Starter Box by Modiphius. Warhammer Fantasy Enemy Within Volume 5 by Cubicle 7.
That's a great name for a company.
And Zweihander Starter Box by Andrew McNeil Publishing. Now, I'm not going to lie, some of these I've never even heard of.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to Google them at some point.
I'd probably put them on the list.
Exactly. That's why I'm not doing it now.
Yep.
Because, you know, if I have myself recorded saying, I'm going to put them on the list, then they have to go on the list. Exactly. If I do it in my private time, nobody knows what I get
They might not go on the list.
To.
Exactly.
You don't know. But yeah, so, yeah, best of luck to all the nominees. And, you know, they've got board games, strategy, thematic, card games, children's games, collectibles. Yeah, they are definitely something worth kind of keeping an eye out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially, like, for me, anything that wins awards is always worth taking a little sneaky peek at. Except for films, because film awards are bollocks.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, what you gonna? It's just a fucking.
You can all vote. Does that actually mean that who we vote for wins? No.
Nope.
So why are we voting? Because it makes you feel like you've got to say.
Well, that's kind of like politics, then, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, politics, we do get to vote, and who we voted for does go in power, but they all do the same thing, so what's the point?
It all depends. Basically, it just depends on who's going to pull your hair harder when they fuck you.
Exactly.
So let's not delve into that, because that's going to be another podcast. Let's you and me talk politics.
That's a different t-shirt. And a very different list.
Very different list.
But I feel like that podcast would get us on a list.
I think I already am, to be fair.
I most definitely am, because of, like, you know why my old Facebook got deleted, don't you?
I think this is probably something you might need to tell me off air.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It wasn't anything I did.
Oh, what?
No. So my Facebook got hacked.
Yes. Yes, it did. You told me.
Yeah. So yeah, it was my Facebook, my Instagram, a bunch of other stuff all got hacked because of a password leak fucking eons ago. And the people that took over my Facebook decided to post terrorist shit, and Facebook just went nope and deleted my account. And then I appealed it. And we're like, guys, that wasn't me. And Facebook will go, nope. So I'm definitely on a list somewhere.
So then you make a new account and Facebook are like, yeah, that tracks. It's absolutely fine.
Exactly.
This person who has the same name and the same picture.
Dude, not even the same picture. Because like when your account gets deleted off of Facebook, you can download your information. And when you do that, you can download any photos that you posted, like yourself. So I can't get photos that like I was tagged in or that people sent me a messenger or anything like that, right? But the ones that I posted, I can download. So I've not only created a same name, same address, same fucking everything, apart from email address. I couldn't use the same email address. Same phone number. Everything the same. I'm using the fucking profile picture I downloaded from my old profile. So it's going to have the same fucking meta tags in it from their download.
There we go, folks. That's how good Facebook's terrorist watch is.
That's great. Oh. But yeah. Instagram, on the other hand, that account got hacked. They started posting shit, and Instagram did nothing.
Well, it's all the same, isn't it? It's the same.
Well, yeah, that's why I don't get it. No, but they did nothing. Like, they just let it happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't even try and delete me. They did nothing. So I didn't have to make a new Instagram. Just had to make a new Facebook.
Yeah, well.
Yeah,
So it's like all they care about is money.
I know, right? It's crazy.
So the last bit of news that I found, which I'm actually quite excited about, is again from Free League. I am quite an avid listener of the Glass Cannon Network.
Yes.
And back when it was known as the Glass Cannon Podcast, they made a second feed called Androids and Aliens.
Yes, I remember you guys talking about that.
And in it, they introduced another cast member called Eleanor Di Lorenzo, who is...
That's amazing.
She's amazing, is Ellie. She is Swedish. She's naturally Swedish, but living in the States. So I think while she was doing Androids and Aliens, she kind of went off and started doing her own podcast. And it was called The Lost Mountain Saga. And she was playing Vessen, which is a Free League joint. Really good, really cool system. It's kind of like you kind of delve into Scandinavian folklore.
Okay.
It is really fun. So she did this podcast. So now Free League have actually added the Lost Mountain Saga as an expansion to their game.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So inspired by her podcast, which I think
Yeah.
is fantastic. I mean, she
Yeah, that's pretty
deserves
cool.
all the recognition she can get.
Yeah.
So yeah, good. Good on you, Ellie.
Good job.
Good job.
In the most patronising voice I can think of.
Well done.
Good job.
Well done, you.
Oh, dude, that's that voice you used to use on drunk people.
Oh, all the time.
Can I get a beer here? You can!
You can get a beer. Do you have this beer? Can you see the taps? Can you see the names that they've got on them?
Yeah.
Is that one there?
No.
Then no, you don't have it.
Oh. Well, not even like out the back.
And our special hidden pump, no.
You don't have a secret hidden pump?
We did not have a secret hidden
Oh,
pump
mate. That's where you're going wrong in life.
for all those stellar drinkers.
I'll see. Do you know what you should have done? Just gone, you know what, I'll go and get one for you. And just go like to the other end of the bar, pour a different pint and give it to him. Like, there you go. There.
Oh, I don't want to admit to things like that.
Because it's ever so slightly illegal.
And yes, I would never do anything like that. Never did. Not even once.
Not one single time.
Not one single time did someone who was too drunk to have a vodka and Coke just get Coke.
Yep.
But that never happened. Ever.
No.
Never happened.
I've done that to people that I'm with when like they are beyond drunk and I know they shouldn't have any more and they ask me to go get them like a vodka Red Bull. I'll just get them a Red Bull.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be done. You got to look out for.
You got to, man, because some people just don't know when to fucking stop.
No, they don't.
And having been the one that has to clean up when they don't know how to stop,
Oh,
I don't like doing that to other people.
Yeah, you actually worked where I worked just before I started.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think there was any crossover between us.
No.
I think you may have worked like the odd night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I only ever really worked the odd night here and there, because it was mainly just to kind of make a little bit of extra money and to help a mutual friend out. Because I used to be a botman in a lot of the clubs around here.
Yeah.
Back when we had clubs. Because I'd worked at Storm back when that existed. And like several others. Baker's Bar back when that was a thing.
These places were long gone by the time I arrived on the scene.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, so I'd worked in a lot of them. So then, yeah, when our mutual friend needed some help and I needed a little bit of extra money, I was like, yeah, fuck it. But I had a lot of fun because obviously I was very, very experienced and our mutual friend knew this. So I made a lot of enemies my first night there.
As you do.
Well, okay, so they said that they'd cleaned their pot room and he'd gone in there like 4 times and told them that it wasn't clean yet. So when they came out for the 5th time and said it was clean, I was like, do you want me to go and have a look? So I went in and I just fucking tore that place apart. I was like, nope, that's not been done, that's not been done. You've got stuff under there, that's not been washed, that's not been washed. You've got a tray of dirty glasses.
The enemies I used to make were on the opposite side of the bar.
Yeah.
I used to make a lot of enemies. But anyway, we digress.
We do. We have a tendency to do that.
Yeah, we do kind of waffle on every now and again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that is the news from Free League, and I didn't find anything else of that much relevance, to be honest. I don't know about yourself. Or were you just chin deep into?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yep, I've been nose deep. Like the guys at work, when I told them what was happening in Diablo, they were like, "We are surprised you didn't call in sick today." I was like, I was fucking tempted.
Okay, so we may as well head over to Couch's Corner.
Yes, because once again, he told me that he's put a question in, but he wouldn't tell me what it was.
Yeah, but we do have another question as well today.
We have 2 questions?
We have 2 questions.
Oh, you lovely people.
I know, right? So while I look up, if I can find Couch's question, I will read off the other one.
Oh, before you do that, actually, speaking of Couch, he's very upset with you for not reading out the locations that he keeps putting, because he's being very creative with the locations
Is he?
he puts.
I mean, I need to actually sign into Google. Then that would help.
Because he's put a different location for every question.
Has he? Because I haven't fucking noticed.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he's put
Couch.
a different one for every single one.
All right, I will make up for that, and I will read them all out now as soon as I get onto the form.
He's already told me what he's putting as the location for when he comes on the show.
Right, there we go. Let me. Now. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm actually on the wrong fucking thing. Anyway, so I'll read out the other question and I'll be finding it in the meantime. Okay, so this other question comes from Chris. And it is, how do you guys deal with metagamers?
Oh, that's a sore subject for me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so I had a situation with a metagamer once, and I refused point blank to play with the person now because they can't help themselves. They've done it on more than one occasion.
Okay.
So so what happened was we were playing a 20th level evil campaign, and we got to the final room. And in that room there was a main chamber, and then there was like 4 chambers, like one in each corner. And my character was going around solving all of the riddles to open the chambers, because there was a riddle on each one to open them. And after I'd solved it, I'd move on to the next one, and they would go in and loot that room. But because I was the first one in there, and none of them were nearby, because until I'd solved the riddle, they couldn't get across the bridge to get to the room.
Okay.
So I had alone time in all of these rooms. And it was an evil campaign. So I stole all the magic items.
Yeah.
Because in each room there was like there'd be like a ring on the statue. Or like it was really little items, right? They weren't big items. So all I really left in there was gold and like mundane items. And I had a bag of holding. So I was just chucking them all in the bag of holding and then moving on to the next one. So, in character-wise, there was no way for any of them to know that I'd done that. Because none of them even rolled to see if I'd done it, right? They literally just took it as, this is a room full of treasure. Left it at that. And then the next room full of treasure, next room full of treasure, etc., etc. Then, after we'd opened all the rooms, there was a huge crystal in the middle of the room, which we should have seen this coming, to be honest, because it wasn't very smart on our part. The crystal exploded and a huge demon came out of it. So we fought the demon. We killed the demon, and as soon as we killed the demon, this metagamer turned around and attacked my character. Oh, no, sorry, before this happened, I should clarify. He asked me if there's anything else in the room, and I said no. So we rolled a deception check versus an insight check. And he rolled that one. He failed miserably, and I rolled really well for a change. So there was no way in character that he knew that anything had happened, right? So this was all out of character that he knew this. And then after with the big demon fight, he charged my character and killed me. Because of the items that I'd taken. That he didn't know I'd taken.
I think that's a bit of a failing on the GM's part, if you ask me.
It was you know who the GM was, actually, if I told you. It was somebody that used to play in our games. But I think at this point he was just fed up with the guy, because the guy kept doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
And it was literally the last fucking minute of the last session, and he got him back in the end, which I'll get to, because I think this was a really nice fucking touch on the GM's part afterwards. So he killed my character, took all my items, and like that was that. But the way the GM got him back was when they were leaving the dungeon, because obviously we were an evil party, a good party showed up. And I was a paladin, evil paladin, but a paladin. and a paladin of my former order was part of this group that showed up. And the only way that they were getting out of there with their lives is if I was there, because he was my recruit that I trained, and he was going to give us a pass because it was me. So that's the way the GM kind of played off. So they all died anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just a shame that the other characters had to suffer because of one person's petulance, really, to be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. And my other character survived anyway because he was a monk and he'd secured a tavern for himself in the town before they left, and he just at the tavern.
Well, I mean, for me, I think I find it important to kind of distinguish between a metagamer and metagaming.
Yes.
Because, like, player knowledge is something that you can't 100% abolish.
No, because like if I'm playing and I'm fighting a creature that I fought before, I'm going to know what its AC is, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to know roughly how many hit points it probably has, because there's only so many variations you can do.
Yes. So and sometimes you do get the situation where player knowledge and character knowledge does get kind of blurred, and that's involuntary.
Yeah.
So that is something where I will always kind of go, right, I need you to justify this.
Yes.
I need you to tell me how your character would know this information. If you can't, then you cannot do what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to do it, because it's kind of also, I think, again, this might just be because of the way we got into the hobby, because that's kind of the thought process I have as well, is when I'm playing a character, and I, for example, will know, we're fighting, I don't know, something that has a weakness to fire or resistance to fire, right? But then I have to look at that and go, okay, so I know that, but would this character have ever encountered that in their studies or in where they're from or anything like that, to say, well, okay, he doesn't know that, and so far up until now, his most effective spell has been Fireball. He's gonna Fireball.
Yeah.
And I think, I think the way you said that is, unless you can justify the character knowing what they know or acting the way they're acting because of that knowledge, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that for me is when it's something that is involuntary, when it's something that, the line gets blurred and a player wants to do something based on information that the character wants to do something that is based on information that the player knows, then it's a case of, right, justify it. If you can't justify it, then I'm not going to allow it. In terms of metagamers, there are multiple ways to deal with them. I mean, I will flat out tell them in front of everyone at the table, stop metagaming.
Yeah.
Flat out, I won't waste any time. However, if I want to be a bit of a prick, I can be. And, that is just, okay, so you're fighting a fire elemental. Does ice damage. And when I get but it's my fucking game, dude.
Yeah.
I do what I want.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky one as well, because it's like handling it anyway in a way that isn't not. I'm trying to think of the right wording for this, because you don't want to make them feel like a prick if they're not genuinely doing it to be a prick, right? If it's just something they're not realizing they're doing, like you were saying earlier about that accidental kind of blur, right? If it's that, you don't want to make them feel like a prick. But that being said, if they're doing it on purpose, treat them like a prick.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, there are probably more adult ways to handle things, but sometimes that's not the fun way.
That's the thing, though, right? Some things you don't want to handle them in an adult way, because if they were going to be adults about it, they wouldn't be metagaming, because the way I see metagaming is you're ruining the fun for everyone else that you can look like cool. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I had a prime opportunity to metagame in a campaign that I was in not that long ago, because we were coming up against a beholder. Now, we knew we were coming up against a beholder because we had to get an eye from a beholder for a particular ritual that we were trying to do, right?
Yeah.
So I spent an entire session when we were at this like massive library that exists in the 5e world, in a town called Candlekeep, which is just one huge library. I spent the entire time I was there researching beholders so that I could justify the plan that I had come up with out of character for how to fight this thing. Because obviously I have knowledge about beholders and how they work and things like that, and how my class works and interacts with them. I was like, but there's no way that my character would know that yet. So I dedicated time in game to researching them because I knew we were going to fight them, because we were planning to go and find one and fight one, so that there was justification for that plan.
But that's it. You did the legwork.
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes when this happens, their sort of justification is tenuous at best. But even so...
well, I read a scroll once at school.
Yeah, exactly. You can... You know, and depends on the mood I'm in, really. Sometimes it's like, yeah, go on, I'll give you that. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes it'd be like, nah, I'm sorry, that's just not quite enough. But in terms of people who actually metagame, they have a predisposition to try and ruin people's fun for their own benefit.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't stand for at my table.
Yeah.
So I think the most likely reaction from me would be stop metagaming or find another table.
Yeah.
And that's it. But again, you can always have a bit of fun with them. You know, just maybe the first few times just change a creature's stat block.
Yeah. I think that's a good one as well.
Just because you can.
Yeah. The slight tweaks to stat blocks are always a good one.
Tweaks to adventures, tweaks to stat block.
Just, tweaks in general. Just any kind of tweaks. Because, I mean, that's the thing as well. Like, sometimes if you're running, like, pre-written adventure paths, there can also be an element of just, again, like we said earlier, that accidental overlap. If they've played this adventure path 4 or 5 times, right, they're not even going to realize that they're steering in a certain way, because subconsciously they just know that that's the way they're meant to be going, right? So if it's something like that, it might be worth just... That's where you do the gentle pull aside and say, hey, look, maybe just take a back seat in those kind of conversations, because you might not realize you're doing it, but you're kind of steering things because you've played this before or whatever. But if that doesn't work, then all guns blazing, or just tell them to find a different table because you don't want them there.
But it's not necessarily having played the adventure before. If you've played enough adventures, you'll begin to see the common narrative threads.
Yeah, the
and
patterns.
The prompts, and it's like kind of like in a video game. If you're walking down a long corridor and you just happen to find a shit ton of healing items,
and your game saves,
you know there's a boss coming up.
And the music changes.
But even that can be justified, sort of in character.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of, I don't like this feeling. I don't like what's going on, sort of thing.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, it's the same as, like, if you're walking home late at night, right, after a night out, and there's maybe a group of people following you or something, you will get that feeling of, like, you know, the hairs on your neck start to stand up, like, you get that nervous feeling. That's a quantifiable thing, right?
Yeah. It is. It's. I think it's all down to, especially when we're talking about using meta knowledge, probably inadvertently. It's just all down to judgment from the GM to kind of say,
Yes.
no, you're not going to know that. There's no way you can know that. So
Yeah.
I won't allow that action. You know, I mean, unless there's a very valid justification, then it's down to the GM to keep things on track. And when it comes to actual metagamers, they're there to ruin everybody's fun, so you're probably better off playing without them.
Yep.
To be fair.
And the sooner everyone stops playing with them, the sooner they'll realise they need to change their ways, because they won't have anything to play with.
So yeah, thanks for that question, Chris. I feel kind of special that we've got more than one question.
Yeah, I know.
And I mean,
normally we'd be signing off now.
Yeah, not to knock Couch, because he keeps us afloat.
He does. He very much does.
He keeps us busy.
Yeah, but he's got the segment named after him now, so
he does.
fine.
Yeah, in all fairness, it is Couch's corner. So let me just go over Couch's old question. So the first question he sent in was about. I don't know if these are actually by order the way Google Sheets is presenting them, but the question about power gamers, his location was the Void.
Yep.
Let me find more. Then we go. I'm going to do them by order. Then it was the question about playing Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Yeah.
It was find me ... All right, and let us continue. This question was about franchises as role-playing games. It was the depths of the Void.
Ah, so he's gone deeper.
He's gone deeper into the Void.
Yeah, he's embracing the Void.
He is. He's embracing the Void heavily. The question about gender, it was from Your Nightmares. I like that one. And question number 4. Playing evil characters. It was, the name was Dave, only joking, it's Couch. And location, your dad's bed. Fair enough. And I think that leads us to
this week's question. Where is he today?
Okay. So, the name he's put down is Cammy Ouch, Anagrams Are Fun. And the location is the Bog of Eternal Stench. So, his actual question is, with regards to new tabletop role-playing game systems, what is the main thing that gets you into it? I have wanted to run a Wrath and Story, I'm assuming it's Wrath and Glory, Wrath and Glory campaign, which is 40k, based on the setting alone. Would that be enough for you, or would the mechanics need to be flawless to keep you going?
I mean, the fact that I play 5e means that the mechanics don't have to be flawless.
Now, all you care about is the marketing.
Yes, if the marketing's good, I'm in. No, I think for me, it's more the group than the system for me. Because, like, if I'm being honest, right, no matter what system I'm playing, if I don't enjoy the people at the table, I'm not going to have a good time. If I do enjoy the people at the table, I'm going to have a good time. I mean, like the Delta Green that you ran.
Yeah.
When we played online that time, I really, really enjoyed that, even though my character died, because it was really fun. The people we were playing with were brilliant. Like, we were all able to bounce off of each other really well. Everything flowed nicely. And I had a really good experience. And I don't think it was the system that made me have a good time. Don't get me wrong, the system was great. But I think it was the people that made that great. Because I guarantee you I could play Delta Green with some of the people that I've played with in other games in the past that I haven't had fun with. And I wouldn't have a good time because I'm not going to enjoy the table dynamic. So I think for me it's the table dynamic more than the actual game.
Yeah, I agree. And I remember that Delta Green game, I think before we started,
Great.
I actually turned around to you guys and went, I'm fucking excited for this because I have got
You did.
the perfect party to do this.
It was so good.
Because it was you, Chris, and Adam.
Yeah.
And we all share a similar sense of humour. And it was like, there is no fucking way this is going to be serious. There is
and
no
it was
way
great.
this is going to be, like one of those, we're going to die. It's going to be, people are going to fuck about. And that's kind of what we expected. And we went in with that sort of expectation. And it did not fail.
No, it was so good. And I think, like, as well, like, I mean, I keep saying about my character dying because, honestly, it was one of those times where a character death was perfect. Like, it had to go that way or it would have felt like we were cheated out of something, right?
It was brilliant.
It was so good.
And the fact that it was another character that did it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole setup, because, where he was, and you went, I'm going to go down. Because we were messaging, like, behind the scenes. Because I went, okay, so, you've gone insane. This is what happens to you. And he's laughing his arse off. And then you went, I'm going to go down to the armory too. And I just get this message from him going, come on,
I'm going to kill him. But that's the thing, like, it had that layer on it of, like, because as far as my character knew, it was fine. Dude was just panicking a bit. I'll try and calm him down. But the reality of it was he's fucking gone mental.
And
I think,
it
was just perfect.
Yeah, I think that really works for Delta Green, because Delta Green is a somber system. It is dark. Then adding that layer of humour, I think just really works well. And I think, again, it was a perfect party to run that for. But in regards to Couch's question...
yes.
Right. I think it is a mix of both in terms of setting versus mechanics. Because I've played some systems where I was really interested in the setting, but the mechanics, I didn't really mesh with very well. But that
I can see that.
That doesn't take away from the fun at the table. I've had plenty of fun at the table. I mean, case in point, when Couch ran
Monster of the Week.
Oh, I love that. Because he ran it for you, and then he ran it for Chris and I.
Well, yeah, because I think originally the plan was, because it was me and Scott, and then you and Chris, and I think eventually the plan was for our two groups to come together on a mission, but it never happened.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, the mechanics of Monster of the Week, I'm not a huge fan of.
Oh, I love them.
But if Couch were to message me tomorrow and say, right, I'm doing another game, are you in? 100%. I enjoyed the game. I enjoy the atmosphere that Couch brought to the table. I enjoyed the story he told. I enjoyed bouncing off of Chris. I'd be very, very interested in seeing what would happen with all four of us together. And I just thought it was a really good time, despite the mechanics not being quite crunchy enough for me.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's the thing, I guess. I've not really played any games that have wildly different mechanics, I guess. So I've not really run into something like that. And the few that I have that have had wildly different mechanics, I've really enjoyed the mechanics.
Yeah.
So it might be that I've gotten lucky so far.
Yeah. That could quite well be.
So I mean, for me at the moment, it would be setting over mechanics. Just because, like I said, I've not had a game where I've sat down and the mechanics have been so bad that I've gone, I don't really like this. And I mean, I've had a game. So I've played Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Tabletop role-playing game, which uses the Fantasy Age system. And I've played several other games in the Fantasy Age system. I've really enjoyed those other ones, but I didn't enjoy the Dragon Age one. And the only difference there is the setting.
Yeah.
because obviously it's running on the same mechanics. So I think for me, it's definitely setting over mechanics, because it might also just be the way my brain works. I can kind of find a way to make the mechanics work for me, if that makes sense. Because my brain's weird like that.
Yeah.
Whereas if the setting doesn't really grab me, I kind of lose interest very quickly. So I think for me it's definitely setting over mechanics.
I mean, I've played a system where I wasn't very familiar with the setting, and the mechanics I wasn't a huge fan of, and again had a fucking blast.
Yeah.
And that was Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Yeah, I've played that as well, actually. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know Warhammer.
Yeah, me neither, really.
And the set and the mechanics, I don't know. There was something about them that I didn't quite enjoy so much. But again, we had a fantastic GM, we had a fantastic table, so we still had a load of fun, and I would go back into it, in a heartbeat. But in that case, it's not something I would pick up and play for myself, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah. And I think what it really comes down to, and the actual answer to the question is, it's going to be personal preference, isn't it? But I think for us, we've got differing views on it, because, like I said, I've not really had a system where the mechanics made me question things, because I have just been lucky with that, I guess, and I've not really ventured too many systems away from the D20 systems that we all know and love, apart from the Fantasy Age ones, which are 3d6, and that's kind of been my wheelhouse for everything. It's been 3d6 or D20s. And even in the D20 space, I've played Pathfinder First Edition and 5e predominantly, which are very, very similar in a lot of ways. And pretty much every other system I've played has been either I played a little bit of Starfinder, which is just Pathfinder in space. I've played, and then a lot of Fantasy Age, which is like different versions of Fantasy Age, which is just the 3d6 system. I think the only game I've played or the only three games I've played that aren't those is Delta Green, because that was just, it was a lot more RP than I'm used to, which I loved. Monster of the Week, which again, a lot more RP than I'm used to. And the other one would be Stars Without Number.
I still need to try that.
You would love it.
Yeah.
You would honestly love it. Yeah, you would love it. It's your kind of system, because the death element is so, like, it's over your head at all times, because something as like stupid as going to a bar to try and talk to somebody about, oh yeah, like, we would really like it if you could let our ship take off, because they're the crime boss that runs that like dock that you've landed in, and you're like, yeah, we'd really like it. That can turn into a TPK if they don't handle it correctly. Because combat is deadly. Like, if you get into combat, people will die.
I mean, I had that with Rollmaster.
Yeah.
Rollmaster's another one where the mechanics, there's too much crunch in those mechanics. It's a skill-based system, but there is literally an A4 sheet of paper, front and back, full of the different skills.
Oof, that's a lot.
It is a lot. And building a character takes so fucking long in comparison to how long they actually last.
Yeah.
I mean, I fucked up a spell and put my character in a coma for 6 months.
I kind of like that.
In that respect, it is fucking good, because you've always got that ever-present...
There's consequence, yeah. There's consequence to things.
Yeah, it's a rough system. I would be interested in playing it again, but I don't think I'd voluntarily pick it up. And I think that, for me, is the defining point. If I play a system and go, I'd like to run this...
Yeah.
Then that, for me, is symbolic of me liking the system.
Yeah. No, I get that. That makes sense.
I mean, Delta Green.
Well,
Delta Green is a prime example. I think
that's brilliant.
I saw that
I really enjoy that.
I listened to that on Glass Cannon and went, oh fuck, I want to run this. And it has yet to disappoint.
Yeah, no, like I really enjoyed that Delta Green session we played. That was really fun. And I would absolutely, like, if you were to message me and saying, hey, Delta Green this time, and I was free, I'm playing.
Okay, that may happen in the very near future.
Cool. Because I am down for that.
So I think that is all we've got time for.
It is indeed.
Okay, so I want to thank Couch and Chris for a couple of fantastic questions.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for giving us something to do.
Yep.
Also want to thank everybody for listening. It does mean a lot to us.
It really does.
I also want to thank you, Justin, for spending some time with me today.
Sucks.
Would you like to tell the millions of fans out there where they can find you on the interwebs?
Yes. So you can find me at Justin Accurate TV, pretty much everywhere now. And obviously in our Facebook group as well. I'm there as well.
Yeah, and you can find me at Natural Juan on most of the social media sites, Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon. Again, we've got our Facebook group. Feel free to come along and join. We post updates and pictures there. And if you like what you listen, if you like what you've heard, leave us a review, leave us a rating, because that is the way we're going to grow. It kind of helps with the algorithms and all that, and gets us out to more people, and hopefully we can grow this community that is already growing, that we absolutely love. And yeah, if it weren't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this, so thank you very much.
Yeah, true.
Alright, and with that, I bid you all farewell.
See you later, everybody.